Okay, good afternoon. This is Rebecca Vickery, who is with us today in our first episode of Escaping Lockdown. Rebecca is business director of Brave Spark, and I'm very proud to say that she was a student of mine in the University of Glasgow, and I'm extremely proud to have been her teacher. This story of escaping lockdown is about stories that each person has on how to come up with uplifting ways to move forward. And I know Rebecca has a fantastic story to tell, and that's why we're here today. So how did it happen to you, Rebecca? How did lockdown started for you?
So lockdown started with a whole new job. I was 4 days into a new job and then was told basically to work from home, and ever since have been working from home for the last 3 months. So it's been an absolute baptism of fire, and I suppose most people would think it's the worst induction to a company, but actually in some ways I think it's been the best, because you really get to understand people, processes, and especially ones that work and ones that don't. So it's just been a really great way for me to get a lay of the land. And interestingly, I think you probably build better and deeper connections with people when you have to do it like this, because all of a sudden it's a lot more intimate than you would usually even get when you're face to face with someone. You're going directly into their houses. So I've seen the positives from it, but it has been challenging as well. But yeah, that's how lockdown started for me.
And wasn't it very hard for you to start working with people who you didn't even know?
Yeah, I mean, it was challenging. The first 4 days that I had in the office, I was grateful to at least know people's kind of faces, but it's been tough. But I think technology just goes to prove that these days, actually, this is possible. I've kind of come full circle with my thinking. I've always been the person that I've enjoyed human interactions with people, so I like to be in an office. And I've always said that I would never work from home because it's just not something that I like. But now I actually feel like the business could completely operate remotely from home. And because we're a production company, we go out and we do video shoots in physical space with lots of people coming together. So all of a sudden overnight, our kind of the way our business runs wasn't able to operate in a normal way. So I think just how technology has allowed us to overcome those challenges has been quite enlightening. And I've realised that I could probably work from home, going into the office every now and again just to meet people, but it is absolutely possible. And I think there's lots of other businesses that will consider the amount of office space they actually need in the future based on this.
And can you tell me a couple of stories of how did it go, especially related to the business? What things were impossible to do at the beginning of lockdown, and then you had to kind of modify the way you did things to make it work?
I mean, so the first one, like I said, we do shoots, and usually that entails about 15 to 20 different people going to a physical location with cameras, being together in groups, filming, auditions with people, hair and makeup, all of those types of things that are very physical. And we actually received a brief 3 days before the lockdown from a client who wanted to, they're a money transfer company. And obviously at the moment, money transfer digitally is very important, especially when you can't go to physical locations to pick money up and you want to send money to family and friends across the world. They had a brief and we started responding to it in the traditional sense of go out, do a physical shoot. And then the UK went into lockdown. And actually, before we responded to the client, we had to completely rethink how we were going to be able to still get them the content they needed without being able to do it in a physical sense. And really, we ended up doing in the last couple of months a complete remote shoot where we had all the actors do their auditions through Zoom and other kind of video conferencing. And the whole thing's been facilitated over technology without us physically having to go and do a shoot. So I think that's been quite inspiring, actually, and it's made us rethink what we'll do in the future. As a production company, you have quite a big carbon footprint because you go and you film all across the world. And I think actually we'll be looking at more partnerships in the future with other companies around the world because we know it can work now. So, yeah.
And did you lose clients, for example, or did you gain new clients because of this new way of operating?
It's been very mixed, actually, in terms of how our clients have been impacted. We have kind of insurance clients who if you think about it, their business overnight has kind of accelerated in terms of the number of calls and queries that they have coming in versus travel clients who all of a sudden their business is almost redundant or on hold at the moment. So it's been very different across the board. We've not lost any clients and not necessarily gained any. I suppose what we've just done is built maybe better relationships with them, because our business is as challenged as much as theirs is, and it's just been kind of going through that experience together, sharing learnings and challenges as a collective of people. But I think a lot of my clients certainly have realised that they can't completely go silent. They need to be there with the customers, because the customers also have had to change their lives overnight. Their values and their behaviours are changing. So they've realised that they need to almost keep a layer of business as usual going, even though it might not be as much as what they usually do. I think the first couple of weeks, everyone stopped everything because no one knew what to do. But more and more recently, we're getting more briefs coming in where clients realise that they need to better connect with their customers because maybe they've gone a bit too quiet, and they just need to remind their customers that they're still there. So.
And at any point, did you regret having started this new business, this new job? Would you have paid? Well, there's no possibility of doing that, but it must have been really hard to start a new job on lockdown.
Yeah, it has. I definitely don't regret it, though. I think it's actually a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This will never, ever happen again. But hopefully not that I start a new job in the middle of a global pandemic. But it's been such a huge challenge. And my role was kind of business director, which is all about directing the way the business operates, building relationships with clients, working more efficiently. And I feel like all of those things I've probably had to do even more so than I would have normally. And it's been good to just rethink how we do things and what we do. So we've been doing quite a lot of looking at our strategy and our positioning as a business, because interestingly, quite a lot of my clients have said exactly the same. Because the situation has put so much pressure on what you do as business, it's actually making you evaluate the promises that you give to customers about what you do and how you do it. Do they actually hold true? So for example, like one of my insurance clients, they say that they claim to respond to any queries from customers, within 5 minutes, and actually they realise that they can't do that at the moment because of the stress in the business. So I think it's making all businesses think about the difference between what they promise and whether they can deliver on it in the experience. So I've been quite enjoying just tuning and fine-tuning how we position ourselves for the future.
And what do you crave for in the future when lockdown is not an issue anymore and everybody's healthy and running and hugging and all that?
Hugs would be nice. I suppose maybe just that people put more value on in-person meetings, I suppose. Like I think technology, you get so distracted in meeting these days, and I'm guilty of it. I know I've sat in so many where I've been checking my emails, or I've not fully been connected in a meeting where everyone's kind of talking and there's loads of things going on. And I think it's just being more present and making the most of when you are present. Because I don't think in the future, like I said, that there's going to be too many occasions where that happens. So I think just making the most of that will be good. But yeah, and hopefully we just get some perspective on the way that kind of business operate and continue to kind of challenge the way that we work, because I think everyone fears change, but this is a prime example of everyone being able to adapt. It is possible, and sometimes you need to be forced to change. So yeah.
Very clever. We have about 1 minute left. Is there anything else you like to finish with?
That was very quick. I think for me, the way I've kind of like survived lockdown is trying not to react to things that are out of my control. The first thing that we did the week of lockdown, we almost wrote down all the things in the business that were within our control, the people, the expertise, relationships, and we just tried to find ways to do the things that we could with what we had, rather than focusing too much on all the things that we couldn't control. So like even things from getting all our clients together on a call just to share challenges and learnings and bring those relationships together, because that was something that we could control, even if our clients weren't doing work. And I think it's just trying not to fear change so much as well. I think often we live a lot more in our imaginations than reality. And in the last couple of weeks, me and my bosses have been kind of writing down what's the worst fears that we have, and if they come true, what are the types of things we would do to mitigate them. And often when you do that exercise, the cost of inaction is greater than actually just taking action and doing something. So I think they're kind of my biggest takeaways. And also just writing. I just personally find that kind of writing about subjects and talking and connecting to people like we're doing just now is one of the most valuable things that you can do, because it'll always spark off some kind of idea or thought that you haven't had. So that's it for me.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
That's all right. Thank you.
In the first episode of Escaping Lockdown, and you've done a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.